Hello, my name is Jason Lopez, and I'm doing problem 6, regulating financial technology. We are now living in the age of technology and big data. Witnessing the world changing before us is a spectacular sight to see, with new emerging industries and initiatives becoming more mainstream, like FinTech or RegTech, or even others like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and cloud software. We're seeing this start to play a huge role in not only how business is conducted, but how we analyze data. We now have access to real time information that will also guide how we operate our businesses and also how to now grow as a species. With new technologies arising, there are some individuals that do exploit these new technologies by taking advantage in an unethical way by committing fraud or funding crimes. I feel there will be some balancing act here as financial technology and reg technology grows. Some of the areas of focus in the regulation technology and financial technology is regulatory reporting. Distribution and regulatory reporting through big data and analytics, risk management, identity management and control, which is KYCs, AMLs, SBAs, and FinCEN. KYCs is know your customer, AMLs is anti-money laundering, things like that. And then tying that into compliance with being able to monitor, tracking the current state of regulations and auditing, which is always in a constant upflux and always in ever-changing foundation when it always comes to regulations, whether that's state by state or federal. And then the transaction monitoring solutions for real-time transactions, use of digital ledgers and backed by blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies is where a lot of this now mainstream financial technology is heading. So some of the main problem that we are now facing is financial technology is growing faster than regulators can handle. With new emerging technology ultimately overpowering government regulations, if the government were to overpower regulations, this could end up hurting any industry's growth. With new technology also brings a diversification of players that within the financial technology may be fraudulent, funding crimes, or doing other unethical manners. Some of the risks and main areas that we can start bridging the gap is the number one to risk to consumers. I know we all look at our consumers as our customers, and consumer protection should be our number one upfront initiative. The lack of understanding and education in business processes, fraudulent sales of products and services, financial inclusion, data privacy, cybersecurity, and customer protection. Risk of financial stability, funding new markets with diversification of revenue streams, non-innovative changes, meaning that a lot of the banks or financial companies don't want to bridge into new technologies. They kind of are stuck in the old way, non-innovative. They don't want to use anything with crypto or possible blockchain. But then when they see, really the foundation and what areas could help, then they, it's education all the way around. And then system-wide vulnerabilities from hacking and using unauthorized access. Risk to some of the financial firms is business model vulnerability, governance, compliance reporting, AML, KYCs, and BSAs, legal risk and potential perseverance, and data handling. These are all major risks to firms as governance and governments are always changing regulations and possible state by state, if not global, depending on business model and where you're set up. Other areas of concern is initial coin offerings or ICOs. Startup that offering an initial coin offering needs to register with the SEC, but they also have little feedback and an approach on how to approach an issue like this. Banking the unbanked, or in smaller rural communities that banks may be, smaller or don't have the capabilities as maybe some of these larger institutions have. In rural communities, cost also comes into play when you add the cost for higher level compliance. Mobile access and infrastructure. Mobile payments have obviously significantly grown the economics and development of communities, which now a means to secure, transfer, or save funds, send invoices, or pay bills. So, with strategies for ethical regulations, in order to build an essential public trust with regulations, we need to have startups join forces with incubant financial entities. RegTech is currently using the following technologies like cloud computing, blockchain, machine learning, big data, data mining analytics, and of course, biometrics. Customers are now tuning in to FinTech because of the lower cost, increased convenience, and with the potential of higher returns. If the government could start bridging the gap from government to industry and assist in the improvement and infrastructure for new technology, this would help start bridging the gap. So one of the suggestions was infiltrating mobile banking for rural communities backed by the government. Governments that sponsor mobile phone plans and services can give mobile phones preloaded to use for banking payments, government payouts, etc. But a lack of physical banking infrastructure in communities in rural areas is still a large issue, not only in the United States, but across the globe. A government-led sandbox, adding a safe space for where new large businesses or startups can still test and innovate their products, business models, or delivery of their technology, security, and of course its services. In this would encourage innovation, reduce time to market, and improve access to finance. In my experience, this has been an amazing approach where government is partnering with what they call shareholders or people within the industry to learn and develop new technologies in a safe space, but then also to help develop regulations around new emerging industries with an ethical way so we don't completely cut the industry off of its innovation. So, with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, and launching with a new goal of making it easier for fintech startups, customers need and do expect regulatory protection and associated with financial technology products and services. Regulation does matter, but just passing regulation will not work to control new technologies. Regulating, monitoring, and building with the industry will start moving in real time, and finally regulatory and financial technology can start bridging the gap together in a harmonious way. Coordinating on a global, which would include a workable framework for cross-border transactions and to minimize fraudulent and criminal activities. And with doing so, this is my presentation, and this is what I believe some of the areas that the government could start working with financial technology startups, mid-size and large businesses to ethically regulate for the ever growth of new technology.